now we want to figure out then, how do you run a good meeting? Let's bring in the meeting doctor. Michael Goldman runs a consulting company called Facilitation First. He is the meeting doctor. He is in Toronto. So given the study and with that in mind, tell us exactly how to run a good meeting, because I got to tell you, most people dread going to meetings.
Well, you know, in terms of most meetings, there's essentially two elements that run effective meetings. First, that's process and content. And when we're talking about content, it's the intelligence that people bring to the table. It's their ideas around the task, ideas around how to resolve the problems. And that's typically the individual's responsibility. On the other hand, there's this thing called process, and there's two elements to process. One is how you structure the actual conversation. So what are you going to do first? What are you going to do second? What are you going to do third? And these elements together actually design the flow and the effectiveness of how the meeting just goes. Secondly, there's the interpersonal dynamics. And with the interpersonal dynamics, it's all the stuff we bring to the table. And managing both the interpersonal dynamics and the flow is really the job of the facilitator. So as Dr. Lindsay said, if you get someone to manage that aspect, and the people coming to the meeting with the content are actually responsible to come there with a certain amount of intelligence, you get an effective meeting.
All right, so like Carol, I want a hard example. So when people go back to work Monday morning and they say, okay, let's have the meeting. I saw this guy, Michael Goldman. Here's how we're going to structure the meeting. Give us the 5 things that we should do real quick to make a good meeting and make people go, gosh, I like going to meetings.
Yeah. Well, the first thing is understanding what the meeting purpose is. If you don't understand why we're there, then people are going to go all over the place. People are going to go off task. You guys have experienced that, I'm sure, in your own meetings.
No.
The second thing is understanding if there's a decision-making component. Are we making a decision? Are we not making a decision? Because if we're making a decision, there's going to be different elements to how I, as a meeting facilitator, am going to run that meeting. The third thing is the degree of empowerment. How empowered am I to actually be part of that decision-making process? Will I have a chance to actually give my opinion, and then that opinion actually goes to the top and is actually implemented? Or am I here for false reasons where I'm giving my ideas and nothing happens? The fourth thing is having some behavioral norms, some real group guidelines around how we want to interact as a culture. How do we want to behave with one another? How do we want to do things together? And the fifth thing is having some kind of structure, some kind of step-by-step process, so we don't jump to solutions before we even understand what the problem is.
Okay, very quickly before we go, 15 seconds, how important is to have a good in time and a good out time?
In terms of a good in time is, I'm trying to understand what you mean by...
The meeting starts on time and it ends on time.
I can't tell you how many disgruntled people I work with saying, are we going to begin and are we going to end on time? If you don't begin and end on time, you lose the confidence of the people. If you lose the confidence of the people, you lose their willingness to have a voice in that meeting, and you don't want that.
Michael Goldman, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Meeting doctor. It was very nice meeting you.
Very nice meeting you, Carol. Thank you.
Okay.
And you ended on time.